All right, let's see. I got a stack of books here, so. I'm here with my February TBR. Yeah, that's my puppy Nola. We got a puppy. Nola, Granola. Say hi. Hi. Got a pup? His name is Granola. Granola, hola, hola. He's gonna be in the next reading vlog. He's gonna be in the next reading vlog. I don't know which is gonna go up first, my TBR for February or my reading vlog. What's gonna go up first, Nola? Hi everyone, it's me, Jess. I'm here with my February TBR, and I'm very excited because I found a readathon for the month of February. My new thing is like to look for readathons for every month. And this month I found this funny, fun readathon that's based on the characters in the musical Rent. And so that's pretty exciting. And so I think I'm going to take part. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to manage to complete all of the prompts for this one because I have some other books that I want to read in the month of February, but I'm going to attempt to read a few and participate in that readathon. So yeah, I'm taking part in the Rent Readathon, and I'm going to continue reading books for the Found in Translation book club. And I also want to read the selection for the Literary Dead Books and Lala's book club called the Literally Dead Book Club. And is that it? I think that might be it. I think that's it. I think that's enough. Anyhow, so let's get into it. I think I'm going to just do my kind of standalone books, and then I'll talk about my choices for the Rent Readathon. So in terms of, and I think I'm going to read a book for the Buzzword Challenge as well. That's also a challenge that was created by Kayla from Books and Lala. So the first one is dun, 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 Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Bum, 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 bum. Bon, 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 bon. I'm really excited. This is going to be the first of the Russians that my plan was to explore for the month, for the year. So I think I'm going to be reading 3. I talked about that in my classics video of the classics that I want to read. Oh, and I'm also going to be reading some books for Black History Month, like written by Black authors. But that being said, I find that I try to read books by people of color as much as I can, like at least one a month. So if you are hearing some noise in the background, that would be my new puppy, Granola. He's going to be in my vlog. I don't know if the vlog is going to go up first or if the TBR is going to go up first, but either way, you guys will meet him. Anyway, back to the books. Crime and Punishment has been on my radar for at least a year or maybe 2 years. It's kind of chunky. I feel like I have to read it. It's a classic, a Russian classic, and it will be my first Dostoevsky. Actually, I'm not sure if it is my first Dostoevsky because I'm pretty sure I read The Death of Ivan Ilyich. The Death of Ivan Ilyich I read when I was in high school, but I don't really remember it. I just remember it being kind of a bummer. So the story of Crime and Punishment, what I know of it is that our main character commits a crime, and I think he murders an old woman, but I don't know if this is a nice old lady or a mean old lady. But I know that he murders an older woman. And then I think, the rest of the story kind of revolves around the morality of that crime and obviously the punishment. I mean, the title, I think, says it all, right? Crime and Punishment. So that's my first Russian classic. Isn't that a cool cover? Check out that cover. So that is probably going to take me more than the month of... It's probably going to take me for more than the month of February, but I'm going to start it in February. I managed to get from my library a copy of Small Country by Gaël Faye. which is translated from French, but I think it's about the Rwandan genocide. And it's the pick for the Found in Translation book club for the month of February. It's not too long. It's a shorter book, and it seems to be, it's less than 200 pages, I think, or around 200 pages, and it seems to be really lauded, really critically acclaimed. So I am looking forward to reading this. I don't know that much. I mean, I know about the Rwandan genocide because I've learned a lot about the Rwandan genocide, but I've never read a novel that situates itself around that event. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I think it's going to be great. And then, of course, February is the month of love, and it's also Black History Month. So I have some ideas about books that I want to read related to that. The first one, and I think that this fits with the 2022 Read Your Bookshelf Challenge by Chantal Reads All Day. The prompt for February is to read a book with love in the title. So I'm going to be reading another one of the classics that was on my list for the classics that I wanted to read in 2022. I'm going to dig into Beloved by Toni Morrison. I am a little nervous to read this book, but also really excited to read this book. I just read Kindred in January, which I'll be talking about January. I read Kindred in January, and I'll be talking about that in my wrap-up. This book tells the story about a woman who, the protagonist, Sete, I hope I'm saying that right. She was born a slave and escaped to Ohio, but 18 years later, she still is not free. She had a child who died. It's about her experience and I guess the loss of that child. So it's about love, but it's a little bit of a different type of love. And I'm actually going to come back to it in a moment because it does satisfy one of the prompts in the Rent Readathon. So I'm excited to read that. For the Buzzword Readathon, I'm going to be reading My Dark Vanessa. I've been wanting to read My Dark Vanessa for such a long time. I don't even remember how long now. The prompt for the Buzzword Readathon for the month of February is to read a book with a pronoun in the title, so My Dark Vanessa. And also I'll be coming back to this one as well for the Rent Readathon because it also satisfies one of the prompts that I want to do for the Rent Readathon. This is a dark story about a 15-year-old who is seduced by her English teacher. I think it's really sort of, I don't know if it's controversial, but I think it's controversial because I think it talks about this woman defends her teacher, or she has feelings for her teacher. I'm not sure. It's sort of like a Stockholm effect or what it is, but I don't want to know too much about it because I like to not have too many spoilers going into books because I like to just experience them without knowing too much about them. So really looking forward to this one. I'm also going to read, I don't have it yet, but there's a copy of it at my library. It's called Razorblade Tears. Just came to my mind. I actually didn't find it on Storygraph, but I'm pretty sure it's called Razorblade Tears. It's also written by a Black man. And I believe it's the story of two ex-cons. Two ex-cons. One is white and one is black. And it's about revenge. It's about them getting vengeance. So I don't know. I've heard really good things about this book. So I'm really looking forward to reading it. And I think it's possible that it might satisfy one of the prompts for the Rent Readathon as well. In terms of other Black authors, aside from Toni Morrison, Gaël, Faye, I also have Brandon Taylor's Real Life, which actually came up on the BookTube spin. The numbers were 8 and 13, I think. So I'm going to try to read in February the first one, which was number 8 on my list. You can see that if you want to check it out, the 20 books that I selected for the BookTube spin. And this also satisfies one of the prompts for the Rent Readathon. So maybe I should get into the Rent Readathon. I think those are the only ones. Those are all of the ones that I'm reading by Black authors in the month of February. But already we've got, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. It's already quite a few. So I'll just go over what I chose for the Rent Readathon, and I'll leave a link in the description box to the hosts of the Rent Readathon, the creators of the Rent Readathon. If you want to check it out, you could join the link on Storygraph and join along if you want to. It's pretty chill. You can do one prompt, you can do a couple of prompts. There are actually 3 prompts for, I think, 7 characters, possibly 8 characters. So there are 3 prompts for 8 characters. So you could end up reading 24 books if you wanted to. I have chosen, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and possibly 7 or 8. I'm not sure. If you haven't seen Tick Tick Boom yet on Netflix, I highly recommend that. It was so good. I thought it was really good. I'm not such a huge fan of Rent, though. Sorry, everyone. It's not my favorite musical, but I can appreciate the effort that went into creating the Rent Readathon. The first character, Mark, there are 3 prompts for Mark. Read a book to do with film, read a biography or a memoir, or read a book with a Jewish protagonist. So I just started Unorthodox before the holidays, but I really didn't get very far into it, and I'd like to get back to it. This is a memoir about a woman who leaves the very, very Orthodox Hasidic Jewish community by a woman named Deborah Feldman. And also she lives in New York, so that would satisfy another prompt for this readathon. So I might read this to satisfy a couple of the prompts, but the first 2 for Mark, or the second 2 for Mark, read a memoir or read a book with a Jewish protagonist, are satisfied by this. And then also the prompt for Jonathan Larson, the first one is read a book set in New York. So that would satisfy that one as well. So this would satisfy 2 prompts for the readathon. I'm definitely going to read that. So that's Mark and Jonathan. I mean, I might try to read more, but I have noticed I'm struggling a little bit with my TBR from January, and January is a longer month than February, and I had, I think, 12 books on that one, so I'm trying to keep it around 9. I think I have 9 books, and one of them is Crime and Punishment, so I'm trying to be realistic. The next prompt is for the character Roger. That one's a little bit of a giveaway because one of the prompts is read a contemporary book. So presumably any of the books that I've already mentioned, in particular Small Country, could qualify as a contemporary book. The other prompts for Roger are read a book about music, read a contemporary book, or read a book that deals with addiction. Then Maureen, which I didn't choose a book yet for these prompts, but for Maureen it's read a book with bisexual rep, read something weird, read a book of poetry, or a book about a performance artist. I feel like if I got to the end of the month, close to the end of the month, and I still had time to read, I think I could try to find something to satisfy that prompt, like a book of poetry or something weird. I think that I could try, but I'm leaving it for now because there are some other things that I want to get to. For Joanne, there are 3 prompts. Read a book centering law. I'm trying to think of if any of the ones that I chose already. Perhaps Crime and Punishment would satisfy this one. It also says read a nonfiction book, which I'm reading a memoir, so obviously that's a nonfiction book. But if I can get to it, the nonfiction that I'd like to read this month is In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. This is a true crime story. It's about the 4 members of the Clutter family being savagely murdered in 1959 in the small town of Holcomb, Kansas. And Truman Capote goes back to that small town and reconstructs the murder. And it's supposed to be extremely good. I have not read, I feel like I have read it. This happens to me a lot. I feel like I have read it, but if I did read it, it was an incredibly long time ago, and it's time to revisit it. And then the other prompt for Joanne is read a book with a lesbian rep. And then for the character Angel, we have read a book with an anti-capitalist theme. I don't have anything for that. But the second prompt for Angel is read a romance or a book that centers on some other type of love. So as I mentioned, I think Beloved would qualify for that. Also, My Dark Vanessa would qualify for that, but I'm actually going to read My Dark Vanessa for an upcoming prompt for another character. And then the other prompt for Angel is read a book with a trans rep. And I don't have anything in my library at the moment for that. Although I think that would be really interesting if I could find something. If you go on to Storygraph and you join the reading challenge, there are other titles. There are 9 books, for example, added to that prompt that you could potentially read. It looks like quite a few of them are nonfiction, but like, for example, Felix Ever After is one of the choices there, which I haven't read. And then for Collins, the prompt that I'm going to read my Dark Vanessa for is read a book with a teacher or that teaches you something. So this book has a character who's a teacher, so that satisfies that prompt for Collins. The other 2 prompts for Collins are read a science fiction book or read a book with a queer person of color. So also real life is also, the main character is a queer Black man. So that would also satisfy that prompt. I'm already reading it. So that works out well. And then the last prompt that I'm gonna read a book for is for Mimi. And one of the prompts for Mimi is read a book centering HIV/AIDS. And for that, I'm gonna read The Prettiest Star. The Prettiest Star was, I think it was in the YouTube Book Awards. I think I saw it floating around last year for that reason. It's about a gay man in small town Ohio. And I think that it is about this man's experience with AIDS. I don't know if he has AIDS, but it just says on the back, The Prettiest Star offers an urgent portrait of a family in the center of a national crisis. It tells a unique story about the politics and fragility of the body while exploring the bounds of family and redemption. Carter Sickels' stunning literary achievement deserves a place in the canon of AIDS literature alongside the likes of Larry Kramer and Rebecca Mackay. I hope I'm pronouncing their names correctly. So I really want to read this. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. The other 2 prompts for Mimi are to read a graphic novel, which is another possibility for me, and read a book with a fiery character, or read a book with a fiery character. I mean, I could continue to build a TBR around the prompts for the Rent Readathon, but I am trying to be realistic, if you get my drift. So super fun. I think it's going to be great. Oh, the other prompts for Jonathan Larson, aside from read a book set in New York, are read a book set in the future or read a dystopian book. So those are all of the prompts for the Rent Readathon, and I'm really happy I found a readathon because, as I've mentioned before on my channel, I do find that participating in the readathons does help me to read a lot more. And it was one of my goals for 2022 was to participate in more of these readathons and try to participate a little bit more in the book community on YouTube and elsewhere. So that is my pretty massive, pretty huge TBR for February. And I am just looking forward to reading all these books as usual. Me and a big stack of books. That's what all the thumbnails are going to be. Anyhow, let me know if you've read any of these books in the comments below. If you want to participate in the Rent Readathon, yeah, do it. Check it out. Join in. Tell me what you're reading. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye. Bye. Our main character, I'm going to keep playing with this turtleneck because it's kind of bugging me. What's to say, I'm not getting that much reading done. And then I managed to get out of the library the, sorry, there's something in my eye, it's really bothering me. I have to go and bathe my eye and come back. I'm going to read the literary